Blitz Games.
Hello guys, I'm CBMF Productions and welcome back to the Nick Games Retrospective. Today we'll be looking at one of the more popular cartoons from the early to mid-2000s that I haven't covered up to this point in this retrospective, and looking at its first console 3D platformer, The Fairly OddParents, Breakin Da Rules. The Fairly OddParents was a show that I watched on occasion as a kid on Nicktoons and stuff like that. I do remember enjoying the show for the most part, especially the episode Channel Chasers, which I believe should have been the end of the series, but it's not a very nostalgic series for me. And despite having a pretty long run compared to most Nicktoons, it only received 2 games, unlike something like Jimmy Neutron or even Avatar. Breakin Da Rules was the first out of the 2 that came out in 2003, both being developed by Blitz Games, who would go on to develop a couple of the later SpongeBob games. The game managed to get all the original voice actors from the show to participate in the game, and when it came out, it got mixed with positive reviews from the critics and audiences. And nowadays, it does have a small following, but nowhere on the size of something like Battle for Bikini Bottom. But does this game deserve to be rediscovered as an underrated gem, or does it deserve a reputation as bad as Butch Hartman's? Well, let's find out and get into the plot of the game. I mean, how bad could it be, right? So the game starts out with their main character Timmy Turner waking up tired as Cosmo and Wanda try to wake him up because...
You have to get up, Timmy! We have to prepare!
Prepare for what?
Timmy, we're leaving for our, seminar weekend!
Oh, God! Ooh. So these weird morph shapes, trying to resemble Timmy's parents, say that they'll be away for the weekend, and Timmy realizes that Vicky will be babysitting him.
She's here! My brain is numb with horror! You two go stall her while I think of something! No can do, Timmy! You know we can't be seen by anyone but you! There's the rules, see? Rules? This is no time for rules! I wish we wouldn't have to follow those stupid rules! You got it!
So it's a literal plot device?
I'm betting this isn't good news.
Okay, that's actually kind of funny. Timmy wishes that they didn't have to follow the rules, so Cosmo and Wanda can be seen by anybody to help him out, but it ends up being really bad news for them. Saying that the next person to ask for a wish will take the fairy's powers away. Then in a really bad slow motion scene, Timmy doesn't get the rules book back in time, but Vicky does and wishes that Timmy was still in bed before slamming the comically large door in his face, and without transition, they end up in Timmy's dreams like his Inception, as they all end up in fairy court as the 2D guard behind them awaits their trial.
Justice for some unsuspecting creeps, some unsuspecting creeps!
As Jorgen, looking terrifying as ever, guards the court as Cosmo and Wanda's trial goes into session.
Order! Order!
You are out of order. I charge you with
Cosmo and Wanda, you have been accused of losing your copy of The Rules. How do you plead?
I'll plead backwards.
Shut up, Cosmo.
Silence!
Thank you, Jorgen. So after Timmy confesses in court that they lost their copy of the rules, Jorgen responds that he just got engaged.
Is there a copy of the rules?
Yeah, but...
He says yes!
Good for you, Jorgen. The three are sentenced to find the copy in 49.5 hours, or Cosmo and Wanda will lose their fairy licenses forever. So after Wanda exposition dumps some more, they explain the controls to the player as we play a training course, with Cosmo and Wanda interrupting you about 5 million times before you can actually finish it, to get used to them. Our main collectibles for this game are the Power Stars. Or I'm sorry, Wishing Stars because, you know, Nintendo's copyright policies. Basically, if you catch 5 of them and stand on the star podium, you can ask for a wish and get a page of the rules back in return. The goal is to get all of these stars to get all the pages of the rules back. Along getting these Crimson Chin cards on the side, I don't like the socks and Battle for Bikini Bottom. Just a side hustle if you want to 100% the game. Along with collecting these crowns, which are the base currency of this game, and if you collect 100 of them you get an extra life, because this game has a life system. Woo!
And we have 100, we get enough magic to give you another attempt at a task, if you fail the first time. Like in video games when you get a 1-up? That's about the size of it.
Points for self-awareness, I guess? Wait, you've already done that before. Then after we finish the training level, we go to Timmy's house, which is basically our help world for the game. There's a camp mission where Timmy goes on a camping trip with the Squirrely Scouts and Vicky's Green Puffs, which is basically just this universe's version of Boy and Girl Scouts, as Wanda isn't too happy about it.
What about our missing wish powers? If we don't find the rules, Jorgen Von Strangle will make sure we'll never be fairy godparents again! Wanda, I have to go to camp. Even though we're in trouble right now, I'm just a kid and I have to do what people say. Timmy Turner, get on this bus right now!
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed, bitch!
What are these sound effects?
I don't like the sound of that!
You and me both, Wanda. So they make it to the camp as Timmy wakes up to see all of his fellow scouts are all gone. Due to Vicky using another wish, as Timmy has to Metal Gear his way into sneaking past these cream puffs to save his scouts. They all have the same model apart from the skin and hair color changes, who are all smiling while talking about being beaten and kidnapped, apart from this guy who sounds like he smokes 15 cartons of cigarettes an hour.
Jeez, Timmy, am I glad to see you.
Chocolate. I remember when they first invented chocolate. I always hated it!
Meanwhile, Cosmo insults Wanda more.
Thanks for the help, sugar, but this is man's work!
2003 was really a different time, I guess. Wait, isn't Cosmo the one that got pregnant in the show and birthed the literal downfall of the show? Well, the first downfall of the show. Well, who cares because he gets transformed into a beaver, which acts as a chainsaw to knock down these trees.
Sounds freaky, Marv. But iron hands rust, and I'm just the scout to get them wet.
Timmy, please don't say that. Oh my god. So after doing some more sneaking around, the next wish is granted for Timmy to disguise himself in drag as one of the cream puffs, as Cosmo.
Timmy's a girl! Samantha!
How has this guy not been cancelled yet? Oh wait, Twitter didn't exist in 2003. So Timmy manages to sneak into Vicky's main base and get all these sets to perform the cream puff dance by learning them from the Boy Scouts who somehow know all the moves. As a terrible button timing sequence happens, as Timmy gets into Vicky's house and takes her powers away, all happening off screen. Then we jump from Just Dance to Resident Evil as Vicky chases Timmy down in a quick time sequence until Timmy gets back into the main campsite and Vicky's followers announce her as the leader and our main character learns some valuable lessons.
And I think we learned something today?
Yeah, I learned that Timmy looks funny as a girl, and that it's really hard to get marshmallow out of your hair.
I learned that girls and boys are...
And that wood tastes woody, and 3 new uses for Jell-O, and how to build...
Shut up, Cosmo. Next up we get Tron Legacy before Tron Legacy was a thing, with Timmy getting sucked into a video game as he shoots his way through some evil monkeys. Man, Disney suit playing the E3 reboot looks pretty nice, not gonna lie.
Why are we being attacked by monkeys?
Because video games are wild!
So after a lot of platforming, cheap falls, snow plows, and a lot of whack-a-mole bunnies for some reason, Timmy manages to find AJ and get him out of his laser grid. As we take control of him to free Timmy via some more platforming and racing challenges, then both of them get stuck to the walls by these silver bees apparently, as Timmy's other friend Chester has a cannon for some reason as he shoots these bees like it's Galaga, and frees Timmy, but AJ's nowhere to be seen. But who cares because we need to fight the main boss of this level. After doing the typical final platforming challenge to gain the wish any power that he desires, so he chooses to shoot CDs. How mind-blowing. As he enters the boss's lair looking like Zurg Lair from Toy Story 2, as we meet the boss, who is just a brain with Vicky's voice.
I hate that stuffy, blocked up feeling, and I hate kids!
So, Krang? As Timmy defeats her by just shooting some distance to her weak spots, as Timmy and his friends escape the game and snap back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity!
Next up is my favorite level of the game, and that's the Crimson Chin level. Basically, it starts off with Timmy reading his comics, as Vicky storms in and gives a very specific wish about...
I wish I could spoil your childhood fun. I wish the Crimson Chin became completely useless, and I wish you were trapped in his world so you could see just how pathetic comic books really are.
As Timmy is sucked in the Crimson Chin's world,
The Crimson Chin is useless in this issue.
Luckily, the second half of her wish hasn't worked. Maybe I should keep my mouth shut.
you think? With Crimson Chin's powers gone and Timmy tries to find him, he ends up pursuing this banker over the barn for a helmet, and inflating barn animal balloons for Timmy, as his superhero alias Cleft, try to cut them using his propeller. Who comes up with this stuff? As the Crimson Chin, looking like Thor from Avengers Endgame, manages to get his strength back, but still needs more power. So Timmy gets some stars and wishes for a boomerang to throw a boomerang, as he goes to this bread factory to stop these wisps from making more bread. I can't believe I'm actually writing these down as plot points. Then he fights another supervillain and Spatula Woman, who gets defeated after a few tiny boomerangs to the chest, and Crimson Chin gains back his charisma. Then Timmy goes after one last supervillain, using a grappling hook to swing across rooftops. Then he gets to the villain, wearing these Hot Topic boots and flies around in his helicopter, as Timmy has to hold into the chopper long enough for it to be damaged. Do it enough times and he goes down, as the Chin's speed is back in his hands, as he transforms back into the Chin we all know and love, as Timmy goes back to his reality.
Mom spaghetti!
Next we get to a level where Timmy decides to take a bath, and Vicky's right there next to him. How old is this kid again? But after Vicky is creeped up by a spider that we don't see, she wishes for Timmy to scrub every nook and cranny in his bathtub, thus shrinking Timmy to a microscopic level, as he lands with his handy dandy Pacific Rim Job armor, as Timmy starts speaking like Bill and Ted.
Whoa, this armor's pretty cool.
Excellent!
Then Timmy does some more platforming and kills germs along the way. Wash your hands, kids. As Timmy fights his king germ boss, sounding like modern 21st century humor. When the boss is defeated, Timmy grows back to normal size. Next up we get a school level where Vicky forces Timmy to go to school on a Saturday, and things don't go well for him.
No! What's wrong with you guys? Timmy!
We're in trouble!
Timmy doesn't even care anymore. That's revealed that the school is full of anti-fairies that give Timmy bad luck. So then Timmy needs to catch all of them before Mr. Crocker, his school teacher, finds out and uses their power to prove his theory that fairies exist. Meanwhile, as Timmy is catching stars in his school, he smells literal wrecking balls going through his school. Don't know how the faculty is going to respond to this one. After Timmy gets enough stars, he wishes for an anti-fairy capturing device as Timmy goes around the school capturing them.
This man has no dick.
Then Mr. Crocker. Why are the malls in this game so bad? As Timmy has to do more stealth missions to get enough stars to get some jumpy boots. Why not get the propellers that you had earlier? As Timmy bounces around the playground and pools apparently. I wish my school had country club pools. Then Timmy does some more platforming, fight more bosses, does more stealth, until Timmy gets these rocket boots and flies to the cafeteria with these gigantic ovens that look more like gas chambers that are exploding at the seams. An ice rink apparently, and the back lot of the school, as he ends up in the library. Who designed this building? The people who built the Wayside building have more experience in architecture and landscaping than whoever built this comically large school.
Got a blast!
Hey, wrong franchise! So after Timmy does some more ghost hunting in the school, as if this wasn't a Ghostbusters knockoff already, he goes into Mr. Crocker's lair that's underneath the school. How did he build this with no one noticing? As Timmy enters some very exciting platforming. He pulls the Crocker's car as he does his iconic moves.
No! My beautiful van!
That looks so cursed. As Timmy goes back home. Next we get a level where Timmy looks at Vicky's history homework and sees that a lot of the answers she gives are incorrect, and in response, she accidentally sends Timmy back to the past in front of her, but she somehow doesn't notice. Probably because her eyes don't move like every other character model in this game. So Timmy has to travel through time to fix Vicky's mistakes on her homework, from helping Arthur, looking like Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, get credit for pulling Excalibur from the stone, then Timmy sends to Ancient Egypt where Timmy has to make these pyramids triangular instead of cubed, then he sends to Ancient Greece to get the Greeks into sports, which Vicky thought they hated, as Timmy uses a hammer and chisel to fix up these statues to get the Greeks back into sports, and do some more platforming alongside that. As Timmy's transferred back to right before Vicky made her wish, and Timmy tells her that her answers are correct.
You're right. A genius can't be wrong. I agree with you completely. I've been all through time and space, and Vicky is still the dumbest person I've met.
She's right there, you dingus! Next up we get to a level where Vicky's younger sister, Tootie. She shows up and scares Timmy, who she has a crush on, and goes with the walker dog, as Vicky starts insulting Timmy, but he fires back, and as a result, she wishes that he was as easy to take care of as her dog, and then he gets Shaggy Dog in the process, and gets captured and sent to the local pet store, even though he's only as far as his own lawn, and even has a collar on him, but plot convenience I guess. Oh, can you please stop whining, please? Then Tootie chases after him in the pet store, before escaping to the vents. I'm not referencing that, that's a stupid game. And then he gets to the main mall. I'm sorry, what kind of mall is designed like this? How are people supposed to get across? This isn't sky high. As Tootie chases after Timmy some more, until he makes enough of a mess to break her trust and goes back to human form.
You horrible dog! I don't love you! You're a bad, dirty little dog!
And then we get to our last main level of the game, involving Vicky wishing aliens would attack to make life more interesting, as she then gets captured by aliens, as Timmy has to platform his way through the destruction War of the World style, as the aliens start causing havoc. Why does this game look so bad out of context? You know, someone should make a video about that. Meanwhile, Timmy defeats the aliens in such deadly ways as walking towards them and hitting them with pillows. As Timmy gets on the main alien ship with his own costume, and after a lot of very annoying platforming sections, makes it to the royal alien family that are in charge of the invasion, and after doing a 3-part challenge involving flowers, teddy bears, and marshmallows, the royal alien family fix the Earth back to normal before the invasion, and they're sent home.
All will be restored, O foulest of beings!
And I'll have that in writing, please?
Then we get to the final boss where a door appears in Timmy's hallway outside of his bedroom. That leads to fairy world because they found all the pages of the rules, but it's revealed in court that they don't have the table of contents page, so instead they have to face Vicky in the ultimate challenge, as she turns to a dragon for some reason.
Makes my butt look a little big though.
Is she even aware of what she's doing? Anyways, Timmy has to make Vicky step on these platforms, saying that she wished she never took the book from Timmy, as Vicky's powers are reversed back to our heroes, as Cosmo and Wanda can keep their fairy licenses.
Next time on the ultimate challenge, I will personally defeat 402 ogres using only my gigantic ego!
I would love to see that game, as Timmy is transported back to his house and wishes a cake, as Vicky thinks this whole game was a dream, as Timmy's parents show up in the nick of time before Vicky gets the book. You know, if I could wipe my memory like those little devices from Men in Black, this probably would be the first scarring thing I would get rid of, if I had one, as Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda laugh as the game ends. Shut up, Cosmo. The biggest praise I can give the game is that it has quite the imagination. So many levels in this game are really creative and they feel like mini episodes of the show. Yes, they have a lot of inconsistencies, which I've nitpicked to death already, but levels like the Crimson Chin level or the time travel level or the video game level are very fun, and you can tell the developers had a blast using their imagination to make each and every level stand out. I also like the help world that is used here. It takes a battle for Bikini Bomber of being able to choose whichever levels you're interested in first. Now you still have to complete all the levels, so it's not as loose as Battle for Bikini Bottom, but it's up to you if you either want to play the camp level first, the video game level first, or the Crimson Chin level first, and Timmy's bedroom and such. I'm glad it wasn't super linear. The voice acting is also well done here, and it's cool that the developers managed to get everybody to do their characters from the show. The humor sometimes gave me chuckles, mainly from the self-referential humor and a lot of the more adult jokes that are thrown in the mix that have more diverse jokes instead of just Cosmo spouting random things. And there's also some funny cameos as well. The controls and gameplay are also done decently here. I like Timmy's double jump and his various powers control well for the most part, and the music is pretty good as well, mainly from the quieter, more acoustic version of the main theme of the show. Plus, I do like the pacing of the game, where each level feels about the right length. There's not a lot of parts in the game where it drags considerably. And overall, I do have an enjoyable enough time playing through this game. The main issue I have with this game is that although I can't confirm or deny if this actually happened, this feels like a game that developers didn't have as much time as they wanted to develop it on. This game feels rushed, and it feels like developers had to kind of rush to finish this game on time. Like, the makers of this game were halfway through finishing the game and then THQ bumped up their deadline and they had to finish up the final product within like a week or so. I feel like that happened because there's so many scenes and moments in this game where you can tell the developers just cut corners. For example, our main objective is to get all the pages of the rules, despite we never physically see these pages in the game. There are some integral moments that happen off screen. Pretty much all the characters' eyes and facial animations repeat, and they barely move when speaking. It's like if I did the entire review like this. Another minor thing in this game that I feel like if developers had an extra month or two to fine tune the game, it would greatly benefit the game. And considering the fact it's a licensed game based on a Nickelodeon cartoon, I wouldn't be surprised. But my biggest technical issues in the game lie within, firstly, the character models and the character designs. Because Fairly OddParents is a 2D cartoon, it was kind of a hard task to translate those characters into 3D, and we've seen that done badly in TV form. And this is easily one of the worst cartoon games that has tried to do this. It may not be as bad as the Jimmy Neutron movie game, but they all look unnatural and stiff, and their outlines are not in sync, and their faces are stretched out like they're those old nudes bumpers on Cartoon Network. And when you get moments like this,
Oh, my beautiful van!
it doesn't make it look better. Not to mention the audio mixing for the game is really bad here. Whatever sound equipment they use for the voice actors to record their lines makes everything sound distorted and not really clear. Another issue I have with the game is mainly the life system it implements, which for me is a very outdated concept for a console game, even to the back of the 6th gen era. Unless you're an arcade game, what's the point of integrating a life system when the player has unlimited amounts of time to beat the game? And when you throw in some very cheap quick time challenges or some bad platforming sections, making the player reduce some levels unless they get to some checkpoints is ridiculous. And moving on to the smaller issues, the humor for me really didn't land here. I get that this is a kids game, but it has quite a lot of smart referential humor that makes that more merry than just lowbrow poop and fart jokes. But when you get a lot of these jokes mainly from Cosmo, it does get very grating and leads to a lot of my playthroughs just skipping all the dialogue stuff. And I found some of the powers like any of the guns or boomerangs or propellers not having the best controls. The worst example probably being these sequences in the bathtub level where you're forced to tightrope with a cotton swab, and they really are rage inducing at moments. And the plot to this game is so scattershot and random that it makes the game have this very odd atmosphere to it. No pun intended.
Why am I laughing?
Overall, the Fairly OddParents Breakin Da Rules is a decent game. It has a lot of creativity in its level designs and concepts that leads to this game having some fun levels, the voice acting is good, has some standout moments of comedy, well-programmed controls for the basic functions, a fast enough pace, a really solid hub world, and it is a game that does capture the show in a video game format, but there's also a ton of issues as well. From the game cutting a lot of corners, some very annoying humor in the mix, a pointless life system, really weird audio mixing, straight up bad character models, some annoying sections of these levels such as the quick time sections or the various power-ups we get in the game, and a scattershot plot. Overall, rounds to being a game, in my opinion, that doesn't reach its potential, but at the same token, it is something that I could recommend to fans of the show, or nostalgic people who haven't played this game in years that want to replay it, and it's a game that isn't the worst of the series thus far, and definitely isn't as bad as some of the games we'll get to later on. I give Fairly OddParents Breakin Da Rules a C+, a 6.5 out of 10, and a stream recommendation. So that's Fairly OddParents Breaking my balls. So that's Fairly OddParents Breakin Da Rules. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our content. I'm CBMF Productions, and I'll see you on the next level.